Call the meeting to order. Yeah. Oh, here. Matthew, Auburn,
Here.
Lori, somebody go. This is my meeting, on. Okay. Let's see, Mike McClass.
Here.
And Sam. Public comment. Donna, what do we have, Mary Beth Harper. Mary Beth Harper, you're up.
Thanks to the mayor for working with Bob Marino, the retired Lincoln County, and the library to put it so complete. Long. Without city funding of 60%. And almost caused us to lose our accreditation. Okay, Texas State University has a program called Translational Health Research Center, THRC. One of their areas of focus is to support mental health efforts in Central Texas. And thank you to the mayor for meeting with the library and a representative of this group. Okay, this Saturday, August 23rd, from 11 to 12, the library is having Arts and Crafts Hour, and that's for kids. Okay, our weekly events on Wednesdays from 4:30 to 5:30 is Lego Club. Thursdays from 11 to 12 is story time. They'll read 2 books and have followed by a craft session. And then Friday from 11 to 12 is creative conversation. That has become very, very popular. And again, that's tomorrow from 11 to 12. Okay, by the way, Friday, the library will be closed for Labor Day holiday on Friday and Saturday, August 29th and 30th.
Thank you. And is there anyone else that would like to make a public comment? No. All right, then, we will be moving right along. I just had a few updates this time. One was that August 27th at 6:30 p.m. we're having a flood preparation and mitigation workshop to discuss flood preparation and mitigation. And there's an RSVP form on the website. If you would just fill it out, it's not like because we're trying to be formal, it's just to get a head count. Because if this room isn't big enough, we need to move across and rent Daniel Carl's hall. So if you wouldn't mind just letting us know if you plan to come. We are going to start off at 6:30. We're gonna have 2 speakers that'll be by Zoom. The first one is from TDEM, which is the Texas Emergency Management Group. They are the group that kind of is a sub-grant of FEMA. So they're gonna start out talking a little bit about it and community involvement in those efforts. And then the chief will also be making some updates from a training where he is. So he has to like go hide in a closet and talk to us on Zoom so that he doesn't get in trouble for missing his thing. So he will also be talking about some of our updates to the city planning and our monthly siren checks. So please let us know. One of the main purposes of it is to get your feedback and your concerns so that city council has a direction to move forward on in terms of what are the priorities for you as residents, feeling like you are like we're looking out for you. So if you'll let us know.
Mayor, quick question.
Yes, absolutely.
Will that be, we'll be discussing that structure they're building on Northwest River Road?
That's not really, it's not to discuss anyone in particular's property. It's really to look at the town and its preparations as a city, not really to like dissect individual properties. But if you do have questions about that, I would, invite you to please let us know, because we are working directly with the developers, and, I know that there are a lot of concerns because we haven't built there before, but at this point, they have all of their ducks in a row. They have a structural engineer who is doing everything right. He's gone through inspections. He, has steel beam on steel beam on steel beam. They have FEMA approval, which took the better part of a year to get through. They have worked with Bureau Veritas, and their engineers have signed off that everything is in order. They have this no rise certificates. They've done absolutely everything meticulously. So if you do have concerns or questions about it, please call City Hall and we'll talk with you about it. I have no problem doing that whatsoever. And we, like I said, we have an open line of communication. Mike has asked them to find a time when they can come to the P&Z meeting to talk to everyone and share all of their plans. So they will be doing that. We'll have to let you know when that
Okay.
is.
We'll discuss that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I had a question about the flood mitigation meeting. Is that a part of the flood, or the resilient survey that?
No,
Okay.
I know, right?
You would think it would be.
You would think so.
Okay.
You would think so. It's part of the hazard mitigation planning being done by Caldwell County, but it's not directly associated with the Langford grant that we have from someone to do the resilient city planning.
Yeah.
That's not, as it turns out, it sounded more flood related.
It did at the beginning.
And as it has turned out, it's really not so much that, so we're trying to do it ourselves,
Okay,
if that makes sense.
okay, good, thank you.
Any other questions about that? All right, then moving on, we do have, wait, what? Okay, next is, so I did wanna touch base on the library finance situation because there was a very long-standing perceived discrepancy that did cost the library their main director, and it also created a 7-month delay in them receiving their funding from the city council. And although it was really not an effort of city council that created the problem, it was, the accusations were made very publicly at a city council meeting by someone that was saying they were a individual citizen, not speaking as a council member, sitting at the council desk with a council name tag in front. So I did feel like we owe them an apology. There was also a firestorm on the Not City Facebook page about that, where people started saying, well, maybe they need to be audited. And it turns out they don't need to be audited. Their finances were fine. We spent several hours looking at the exact areas that we had been pointed to by the council person who had the problem with it. And it turned out in the end, we sat with a fraud investigator from our community who volunteered his time, Rob Moreno. He is an amazing accountant, and as we put together all the pieces, we were able to account for absolutely all of the missing information. It was not missing, it was just simply that it had been paid for out of library funds, and then it was later reimbursed to the library, so it did not need to be put into the category that our council person thought that it needed to be in. So it was just a misunderstanding of working with library and grant funded taxes. It was just a lack of knowledge. Yes, ma'am.
I mean, I think the word perceived discrepancy is a little bit, that it doesn't really sound like an accurate description, because we looked at the forms, we looked at the papers.
And the forms never should have been filled out differently.
Okay, so we said there was a discrepancy. We didn't say that anybody did anything purposely to fraud anyone or anything like that. I think it was because we had a discussion with Mary Beth and with Carol Devaney and basically said, and I think Matthew went there to try to help.
I
At least
didn't
that was
say
the
that he
impression.
didn't try to help, I said he didn't have the correct information to be able to provide the kind of help he had hoped to provide. So
Well,
if we can just
Okay, but I
agree
just,
to disagree,
absolutely, but I'm just saying, I don't think that anyone on the council accused the library of doing something. We basically were shown,
it still had very, very poor outcomes for the library to take 7 months and cost a faculty member. So we just need to apologize, be quiet, and move on and not do this again. If there's a problem in the future, perhaps we could have an actual accountant look at it and not try to do it ourselves. It's not appropriate, and he didn't have permission from the council to do that.
okay, so I think that whoever thinks that it's necessary to apologize, then they can apologize.
I just did.
Okay.
I felt it was necessary and I did.
Okay.
All right, so the next thing is, there is a possible cohort grant for young families. And if you are a young family in Martindale or the ETJ, and you might be interested in a program for young families, let me know as soon as you can. I think the applications are due at the end of October. It's part of the National League of Cities. And the National League of Cities is the parent organization for TML, the Texas Municipal League, who kind of provides professional support to cities and their councils. So if it's something that you're interested in or might potentially be interested in, I put the application in the packet so that you can read a little bit more about it. You can also go to the website. I put the link in the packet and look and see if it is something that you're interested in. It would be providing 9 months of kind of a cohort of support that's both online and in person. We can do either just Martindale and its ETJ, or if we want, we can work in collaboration with Caldwell County and some of the other cities around. It's totally flexible, but it looks at things like nutrition, environmental issues, and family support in general. So if you are in that category, or if you know anyone that is, then please get in touch with me. I'd appreciate it. Then next, the city budget has been posted. It's only a draft. It's been posted on the website. And the budget workshop will be Wednesday, September 10th at 6:30. If you are interested in being part of that, please come on down and join us. Read through the budget that's online and let us know what questions you have, what concerns you have, and then we can talk about them at the workshop. And obviously, since it's a workshop, it's not like there's a lot of back and forth. So you're more than welcome to make suggestions or talk about priorities or whatever. Mr. Milan, do you have an update on the budget information?
Yeah, I believe it's in the packet, the timeline.
It's on the website too.
It's on the website as well. Okay, cool.
I don't believe it's in the packet, but it is on.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah, so here is our,
Page
tentative
11 of 38.
Oh, excuse me.
our tentative budget schedule for this coming fiscal year. On the 18th, we gave the budget to the city secretary to be posted on the city website. It will be able to, anyone can look at it on the city website. Feel free to go ahead and look at it. Today, the 21st, is the city council meeting. Just wanted to let y'all know, council and the public know that the budget is posted and that it is open to be looked at. On the 28th, there should be a posting for the public hearing on September 10th in the Lockhart Post Register newspaper place. And then on the 10th, we're gonna hold the public hearing for the budget at 6 p.m. here at City Hall. On the 18th, we'll have that's regularly scheduled city council meeting. And at that meeting, it will be a possible adoption of the budget and possible adoption of the tax rate as well. On the 10th is a public hearing budget workshop. So just feel free to join that. We'll have an official posting about the agenda and such when that time comes around. Any questions? Anything? All right. I think that's pretty much all.
Alrighty, city clerk. Staff hires.
Yeah, just a quick update that, we have been working towards filling in some gaps that we had, possibly for, I wanna say, I can confidently say for a year now. Where we have a deficit of staff on handling the utilities desk as well as the court clerk. Under the court, that which both of these positions having a deficit impacted the service hours to our public. We are open Monday through Thursday, 9 to 5, and that was something that was hard to accomplish with only one clerk sitting at the utilities desk and one court clerk's handling the court. And therefore, we're all part-time and show up 3 days out of the week. So when you only have one, you had me covering the 4th day on the utilities desk. And then on the court, if there was no court clerk on that 4th day, then the court essentially was unavailable for any form of individuals to come in and take care of their tickets, citations. So I put an ad recently, about 3 weeks ago now, and I attracted a very big pool of candidates, and we recently interviewed, I believe, last week and this week for the court clerk, and we picked very competent candidates, every single one with previous experience in administration and in the court candidate specifically, she had court clerk experience, so.
Quick question. I know we talked about it before, combining the two roles, since it's, there's not a whole lot of traffic in here that we combine the court clerk with our other clerk to save, be more cost efficient. I know we mentioned that before.
Yeah.
Was that being considered?
I can elaborate on that. The city did attempt to merge both of those positions. However, the staff, both on the court and on the utilities clerk, when that position tried to be merged, the staff handling those roles at the moment, felt overwhelmed, and we did have a court clerk completely leave the role of court clerk, as conditions of that's not what they signed up for. And the remainder.
The software doesn't talk, so they had to learn 2 totally separate softwares and then sign out of one and start the other in order to.
That's another
Well, I
one.
mean, if you find the right employee, you know, they could do dual purpose. I mean,
Sure.
we need to be,
When,
trying to be, we've got a limited budget here. It'd be good if we could, since we got new hires and, like I always said, you got somebody new, you train them up like you want them.
I can also say that what the judge's input when we brought up that idea, he was very happy in regards to budget-friendly decisions. However, he did believe, along with our former city administrator, that it was not something that was going to be accomplished successfully.
Jared said, when I talked to Jared, he was, he was getting ready to resign. And he said, that's something that I really pushed hard for. I really tried to get that to happen. I have come to the realization that it's just not gonna work. It's not going to work out to have it be that way. So I'm just letting you know that, like, I did my best. It's a failure. You need to just have the people trained to do the job.
But I thought it was mainly the current people that really were against it, and that's why she resigned. I thought the judge was on board with that, thought that was a good idea.
He said,
That's what I remember.
yeah, he said when we asked him about it, cause I've been meeting with him since I started and, about what to do with the manpower situation. And he said, no, he had seen that in other towns, I don't know where,
In his own time.
Limberley or Kyle or wherever. and he didn't, and it doesn't work out well. But I don't know because all I know is what he said to me. I know Jared told me, I really tried hard, I tried to push for that, it's not working, you probably just need to give it up and move on. But that's just, I don't know, that's what I was told.
Yeah, I just don't remember it being that way, but
One
maybe
more
it was.
point, if I can make it real quick, I mean, you said you had a lot of applicants, I mean, all you gotta do is find that right person. You know, You got that kind of
I agree, if the position is,
you got that kind of a pull to pull from, you know, we got University, we got Texas State down here, it could be, you know, look at you guys, I mean, you guys are very competent.
well, and if
Find
the
the right
position is advertised as you do both, then, and that's what they apply for.
Exactly,
But I don't know, I mean, obviously,
I'm just trying
Well,
to,
we've already extended offers to 2 people, so I don't really think we can go back and hunt for them.
oh, well, then that's different.
we're trying to save some money, you know, we're trying our best, so.
Yeah, absolutely.
But in a way, it is hard, as you mentioned, to find somebody that has the skill set to do both of those things. And then the pay scale is quite low, $15 an hour, and working part-time 3 days a week with no benefits. So we have to be happy with who we can get at that pay rate and hope that possibly we could enhance their learning set or their skill. But to really try and get someone for $15 an hour to do what you are
But
asking.
Mr. Clinton, Councilman,
Yes,
if you had a dual role, you could probably get that hourly bumped up. I'm just thinking out of the box here, you know?
Instead of paying 2 people,
Yeah, just pay one that's.
one pay more.
Exactly.
I don't agree nor disagree to the whole merging, just because, you know, all I've heard so far are opinions. However, the pressure that it created was not a positive pressure in the work environment. And that wasn't even being pressured on me. However, you know, as someone that supervises that desk at the front, I believe that like the merge was definitely not something that I was gonna let.
With those people though, the previous people. that-
Well, the decision sounds like it's already been made.
Yeah, it's like, we're trying, it seems like that.
Yeah,
We-
no, I get it, but we couldn't afford to just have people walk out on us and then be left with nothing. Because if we don't know the role itself, we can't just force it, lose the employees, and then start from scratch when we already, us as staff are already being stretched.
That's what we're doing right now, by getting all this forward, you got all these people apply, you just gotta find that right person.
I think that the decision has already been made.
Yeah, I guess you're right, let's go on. Okay,
Let's see, Councilmember McGovern, any update on the water?
Yeah, met with the water board last Wednesday, Mr. Payne was there, Mr. Clinton was there. They were very receptive to, understanding that we do need to, support all the communities within the city. The map which Mr. Clinton had already, acquired prior, for me getting it, that I'd asked Steve to prepare and have for the council. Went over it, and there was no other areas within the city that qualify to add more hydrants. Actually, the city is fairly well covered within the city limits. Obviously, they had some discussions with regard to the ETJ because they are responsible for an area greater than us. We comprise approximately 400 of their 1,000 taps. With the Hudson Ranch was the only community that met the 2 criteria, which were the 6-inch line and a looped structure. So they were very understanding that needs to be done. The proposal was for 3 fire hydrants. After much discussion, they did agree to split the bill, and they would split whatever that would be. I believe the proposal of excluding potential repair to sidewalks was $11,000 per hydrant, so a total of $33,000, plus some potential sidewalk repair if there's some damage during the install. Until they actually came out and, did a site survey, they would not commit to that. That would be an additional, up to an additional $4,000 per, so that particular quote seemed extremely high to repair a 8-foot section of sidewalk to cost $4,000. So, it might be something that if it did have to be repaired, we would not use a company that actually does the fire hydrant install to do any repairs for that. So I would recommend to the council, and obviously we'll discuss it more during the budget process, but that we would, go forward with that. It would obviously make that neighborhood whole. They're the only neighborhood that does not get the protection on their insurance, which I'm still trying to get an exact number. I've called my insurance agent as well, but based upon preliminary numbers that I've compared mine to a few of the neighbors over there, it's somewhere in the neighborhood of $500 or $600 per year that they're paying an additional for not having a fire hydrant within the 500 feet.
Yeah, and homeowners insurance is
Yeah.
going up and up and
So-
up.
I'm very lucky because obviously I have one. So I fully understand that, so I can recommend that we go and partner with them. So they were it was unanimous with them, so they were very understanding.
Mr. McGovern, I would add that neighborhood pays a lot of property tax too.
Yeah, it's
We
really
do pay a lot.
Those two neighborhoods pay 30% of the property taxes in the city.
So then, what are your next steps?
The next step is to discuss putting somewhere, finding to get it on the budget. So we would ask that we budget no more than $20,000. It gives us a little bit of wiggle room. Obviously 16 is whatever that is the 16.5 is our half, and they're not increasing it. That is the actual true cost. So there's no, Mr. Payne was very careful about making sure that there's no fluff factor put in on their end, and they said no. The only thing that we would have to discuss is whether the understanding that because it's their line, from a bidding process standpoint, that we would have to acquiesce to them being the actual installer of the project, not us.
The
So,
water company?
yeah, the water company, because it's their line. So normally, my understanding is when the city does a job, we have to go out to 3 bids. The bidding process would, I don't think, fall within, that's something we'd have to investigate, but I believe that it does not fall within our jurisdiction because it is their lines.
Okay.
So, that's something you and I can have a conversation about, talking to the attorney, make sure we're covering our bases on that, but it seems that, it's them. So they would go to 3 bids and they pick. So,
Okay, so then we just, our next steps are just to look at the budget.
Yeah.
And find a place for it, and then you'll go back to work with them again.
yeah, I think we're pretty much done, and Mr. Painter has a.
Could I add one quick thing to that? The two interesting takes, that I got out of that meeting is there is no other place in the city that can accommodate a fire hydrant except our neighbors.
Mm-hmm,
And they voted unanimously to do this.
mm-hmm,
They're ready,
mm-hmm.
and we were certainly ready. So we're asking you to put that in the budget.
All right.
So,
Okey doke, sounds good. Thank you for that report. And then, Sam, do you have Councilmember Clinton, do you have any update about the environmental ordinance?
Well, yes, I actually, believe it or not, I did check my email and I did not see any comments from anybody else. Thank God here for setting me up with Microsoft Outlook, and so now I have
What?
email on my phone and I can just look it up.
Whoa.
Looking into the new age here. So, long overdue. I don't know if we can bring that ordinance up, but I don't want to break it down into every note that I wrote, but there is one part of it at the beginning, 10102, where it mentions definitions, but it doesn't have any definitions.
Yeah.
In the ordinance, they mention scaled root protection. I'm not sure what that is. Also, we need to define that. They also mentioned something called green streets, and so I hadn't heard that. On 101 Part A, there's something about are intended, and so that seems like a loose wording to use the are intended without more definition. I liked how the Texas Water Code 26177 and 179 were mentioned in that, but I think we should have a direct small quote of that perhaps, so someone doesn't have to spend the time to look that up in our ordinance. 103 Part A is talking about drainage patterns, which is a very broad statement too, because who knows what the drainage pattern means? And that drainage patterns need to be preserved whenever possible. And that to me seems very broad to say preserved whenever possible, because that's not stating something that should be done or shouldn't done. Also, in the enforcement side of it, it mentions the representing official of the city. We have no title of a job description in our city or in our city staff of a representing official. We need to know exactly who is gonna be enforcing this ordinance. Is it gonna be a code person? Is it gonna be an ordinance person? Is it gonna be Bureau Veritas? If we're gonna write an ordinance, we need to explicitly know what city official is gonna be enforcing it. And to say representing official is very broad. Also in 103 Part C, it says that you cannot alterate the floodplain the 100-year floodplain for the worse. Alternate it for the worse. I'm not sure that that's specific enough, or I'm not even sure what that means. It also mentioned landfill or excavation approved by the city to stabilize conditions. I think that's very broad because we need to work on that. During development in 202 Part A, it talked about during development to preserve trees. That's of course when you want to preserve the trees, but I want to add to that to include landscape cloth or fencing around trees that we're protecting from development in the drip line of the trees. Also, the trees that were to be saved or to measure. In one part of the ordinance, it mentions trees of a 9-inch diameter, such as undesirable trees like hackberry or cedar or elm. But when you got to the more specific trees that are desirable trees, pecan,
Elm,
sycamore, I'd like to add cottonwood to that because.
I was asking you what the other ones were.
We
Okay,
have
got it.
very large cottonwood trees around here and in our river basin. Also, 206 Part B, it says the city may act.
Quick question, Clint, so are you clarifying the undesirable, like cedar, like you're gonna go 9 inches?
Well,
Yeah,
it seemed to say, but it was confusing. There was two diameters mentioned. One was a 9-inch diameter of the less desirable trees. If they were less than that, then you didn't need to really worry about.
What about over?
No, so tree, it says, can I read for you?
Yes,
So,
yeah.
so 202B, trees of the following species with a diameter at breast height, less than 16 inches are excluded from mitigation. That's what we're referring to. So there was one, the broad term was 16-inch diameter at chest height. And there was also a very detailed of collaborating trunk, trees as well that's, spread out at below breast height to get the total.
Multi-trunks.
Yeah, multi-trunks, thank you.
But
So-
whose chest? Because your chest might be here, somebody else's chest might be here.
Thank you, I appreciate your detail analysis.
Well, I'm so, you're telling me.
Clarify, I got a question, just to clarify.
So we'll say
If
the average height where
where is 24 inches in diameter, we're gonna cut it down, right? That's the problem.
when it says the trees of those diameters, irregardless of their species, are not to be cut down.
You know, hackberry? Man,
Well, there was the part of that.
That's,
or 9-inch diameter on those undesirable
I'm
trees.
looking at that, because, you know, hackberries, when they get old, they get big and they break and they hit cars and they're trash trees.
Yeah.
You probably didn't clarify that.
Yeah, that's what I wanted clarification on. 206 Part B was the city may act without prior notification, which I don't think is a good thing to say because we would have given someone prior notification of a private landowner if they were doing something wrong to the trees on their property or something, because it does detail about prior notification and they have to do something within 30 days to correct the problem. And then if they don't do that, then the city can do the work and then charge them for it. So I don't agree to this part, 206 Part B, city may act without prior notification. 207 Part A is something about, is not for the purpose of construction, about putting up, protection, for trees, but it says is not for the purpose of construction. You would think you would put the protection up there for the purpose of construction. So I'm not sure about that. And also in 207 Part B, as our attorney mentioned, there was something mentioned about planning and engineering purposes, which to me does not make sense. So there's a few things that need to be tweaked, but I think we need to really think about in our budget coming up, what are we gonna do with our personnel? I mean, we have no code enforcer, we have no ordinance enforcer, we have no floodplain administrator, we don't have the staff enough to enforce ordinances. I mean,
Our Bureau of Veritas is our, flood person.
and they would be the representing official for the city.
If you're talking about flood things.
Well, no, I'm talking about ordinances about RVs or.
That's code enforcement.
Yeah, well, we don't have a code enforcement.
Correct.
So, I mean, it's like, I think we need to really look at our budget in terms of our personnel, since we don't have these integral parts of the components to enforce ordinances and codes without the personnel, without the staff.
Yeah.
I mean, I know we wanna hire a clerk or a court clerk, but we need, we don't have a city administrator, we don't have a code enforcer, we don't have a floodplain administrator, even though Veritas might help us with that, but we have I've asked Caldwell County before, Casey Miles, the floodplain administrator, if they could help us in any way, shape or form, but they can't, it's out of their jurisdiction, so. I mean, do you have any response to how we can
Just discussion.
enforce things or?
Discussions outside this topic. This is.
Yeah.
There's an environmental ordinance check-in, so y'all need to stay on the agenda, please.
Okay. So we'll work on this more later.
Yeah, the next step probably would be to bring it back to Amanda Padilla and have her take a look at the changes that you wanna make and make sure that those are all worded correctly and whatnot, and then maybe bring it back to council to continue discussing what they want it to look like or what your areas are that you're concerned about.
Okay.
Can I just ask a question for clarification?
Yeah.
So you basically went through and wrote what you thought needed to be adjusted or tweaked or whatever you said. So do we need a copy of that to see? Because you read it, but I don't know that I was able to.
Well, I think that's what you're talking about, they're gonna make line item
But-
adjustments.
Okay, so you're
and then
saying that it's gonna, they're gonna,
make line item adjustments, what he's recommending, and then
Okay.
bring it back to council.
okay, and then we can look at it.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, we definitely
That's
need
just-
He's just going over the broad picture that he spent
Okay.
time looking
I
at.
just wanted to make sure I wasn't supposed to remember all that you said, because I.
Let me clarify, we definitely want to cut down trash trees. I mean, we don't want to have,
Right.
just because it's over 9 inches, we don't want to open that Pandora's spot.
No, I think you did a good job on that. I think you did a good job on that, so.
But again, it looks pretty good, just that one little thing I'd have an issue with.
Okay, good, thank you.
All right, did Maury get on yet? Okay, then in that event, we will, the only thing I can tell you about his, subcommittee for the road master plan is that he has, been working with Caldwell County and working with, the interlocal agreement that we have with them for who is in charge of what streets and mapping out the various, estimates that we have received for the make-do repairs on Northwest River Road and, a couple of others that are necessary because of some, sewer repairs that have happened. So I can't tell you anything very specific, except that he's written to me several times from, out of the country and asked for lots of documents so that he can be working on that. So I do know that he's actively addressing it.
Mayor, quick question.
Yes, sir.
Is the county gonna start repairing the potholes? Did we talk about that?
Is it gonna start repairing what?
Or is the county gonna take over the pothole repair? No, has that been discussed?
That's what he's working on.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Consent agenda, you have police reports and, city financial reports in the packet. And, Deanna, did we end up getting the wastewater treatment plant? Okay, good. So then you should have all three in here. If you have any particular questions, I believe the last time that we went through that, we had decided that you can email them directly to ask the questions before the meeting or after. But do you have any, concerns about approving those?
I do.
No? Anyone else?
The leak in the drain field, the leak that we had at that the water company's gonna fix, is that, they fixed it or they're gonna fix it?
I don't believe it ended up being a water company thing, right?
Cause they talked about the water company fixing the leak, cause if they only were able to irrigate 5,200 gallons, if I remember, seems awfully low. So that's my only
I
question.
do not have information about that, but you could email, you can ask.
Okay.
Copy the mayor.
Okay.
All right then, do we have a motion to pass those?
Oh, just all the consent
Mm-hmm.
agenda items?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda items 3.1, 3.2, and 3.3.
All right,
I'll
second.
second.
And anyone in favor?
Yeah,
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Right, then the motion passes. New business. Do we have the minutes, Deanna? No minutes, so we're skipping 4.1. We will put that off to next time. Discussion and action to reappoint Donald L. Allman, CPA PC, to perform our City of Martindale's yearly fiscal audit for 2025. Anyone have any objections to that?
I'll make a motion to reappoint Mr. Ullman as the CPA to perform the yearly fiscal audit for 2025.
Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
And the motion passes. Next, discussion on the status of Northwest River Road. The summary in the packet is the same exact summary that, well, not the same exact, but almost the same exact summary that council received the day of the meeting. Do you have any discussion about that? Do you have questions, concerns about?
I'm staying out of this.
Well, I still feel concerned that we really haven't been able to talk directly to anyone from the GLO. I know that you have, and I trust that you are telling us what they have said. I feel, I guess, like I don't know that they're getting all the information that I would like them to have, if that makes sense. Because I feel like there are questions that I would like to ask them that maybe whoever was at the meeting didn't think of. Because if we actually need to vote, and I don't know that we need to vote on anything tonight.
We don't.
So that's good. If we don't need to vote on it, then that's fine. But I just wish there would be a way. I mean, is it appropriate for me to call the GLO and ask the questions I want to ask, or do you think they would just completely ignore me?
I think if they wanted to talk to the council, they would have let you be part of the meeting.
But I don't understand why they don't want to talk to the council.
I don't think it's that they don't want to talk to the council necessarily, but like Langford had indicated, they want us to make a decision, and then they're happy to talk to us about the implications of that decision after we make it. What they don't seem to want to do is have a bunch of people on the phone asking a whole bunch of different questions and getting all into it when, like, basically, it's like going to the bank, right? Like, when you go to the bank, their job is to tell you, like, are you gonna repay this loan, or do you wanna keep the loan and make payments as you go?
But what if they don't tell us the terms of the loan? Then how do we know?
They
what
don't-
loan to pick?
Well, that's what I explained.
Well, I just think, I mean, I can understand how they might be
Like,
overwhelmed
they don't care, I don't wanna say it in a negative way, but they don't really care about anything to do with, do you want it, do you not want it, is it just a few citizens, is it a lot of citizens? Is it about the cemetery, is it not about the cemetery? Like, none of that matters, they just wanna know, do you want the loan or not? They're a fiscal agent.
Okay, well, I understand that. I just wonder, I mean, would it be an option for one council member to go and
you know, and
Sure, there-
have questions that maybe
They-
someone's come up with and they limit the number of questions we can ask or whatever. Maybe if just one council member could.
What questions do you have that you feel like are not answered? They gave us 4 very clear options.
I don't even, there are times when I don't even know the question to form because I feel like we've been given several options and none of those options sound like what I want, basically.
That's different.
So there, it's basically,
very-
all of the options are basically saying you can't do anything. But how do I know that they've been given the information that I think that they need?
Like
And-
what? Tell me what.
For example, the historical commission thinking that we're channeling water.
It doesn't
And-
matter. They don't
and-
care.
And that there's a commission that was formed a year ago to sue us for ownership. I
Doesn't
mean,
matter.
but that does matter because
No,
that's
it
why
doesn't.
they're
That
saying.
doesn't matter to the historic commission. The only thing that matters to the Texas Historic Commission and the only thing that matters to the GLO is Texas Historic Commission said, we're not gonna let you move forward until this lawsuit is over, okay? That they don't care about what's happening. They don't care about whether or not the water's going in right now.
I know the GLO doesn't.
No. Texas Historic Commission doesn't either right now.
Okay,
Right now, wait a minute,
Okay.
right now, the
Okay.
only thing Texas Historic Commission cares about is that the lawsuit is finished before we're allowed to move forward. And then, once it's finished, then if we're still gonna keep going, then they wanna know more about the rest of it, but not yet. The only thing they care about right now, they're not gonna change their mind until there is no lawsuit anymore. And then we can talk to them and come up with a new plan and figure out if we're in the middle of this or in the middle of that, but otherwise, nothing.
Okay.
Until that thing is over. The GLO, just only thing they care about, they don't wanna know. They don't care, they don't wanna know anything about the water or anything. They just said, how long is this lawsuit gonna last? Everyone said, we don't know. They said, I know, we've been in lots of lawsuits ourselves and you never know. The ED attorney said to us prior to the meeting, because she wasn't allowed to be there either. She said, I talked to opposing counsel, maybe he thinks at least a year. That runs out our clock. So the only thing GLO wants to know is just, can you get it done or not get it done? That's all they care about. I think that you think that a lot of these issues still matter. They mattered before all of that, but
Okay, I
they
guess,
don't anymore.
I guess then my question is more about, do we have the option to just continue?
Yep.
And because it seems like basically what they're saying about us rejecting the grant. Okay, so if we reject it, then I thought. Self-terminate, there we go. I thought that the only reason we would self-terminate is if we're 100% at the deadline, we no longer have any options, no matter what we do.
Mhm.
I'm not, I can't really form an opinion on that right now. I don't know, but I'm just saying,
Nobody's asking you to.
okay, I'm just saying, I feel like I would like more explanation as to, if we have a certain amount of time. So let's say the lawsuit ended at the end of the year and we can start construction at the beginning of the year.
We will not have, Turk and Freeland have said, it's on that letter that I sent y'all, and it's on the notes that are in your packet. Turk and Freeland have said, if it goes past October, we cannot get the
I'm a
construction.
little different. Can I say a few things?
It's written here too in the letter.
Can I
I'm
say-
just letting the public know.
Can I say something, just letting the, okay.
I know it's in the letter.
Can I say something? I'll keep it short. I'm gonna read the letter from the Texas Historic Commission. The Texas Historic Commission has become aware of additional information regarding the city of Martindale plans to channel storm drainage runoff into the existing ravine adjacent to the Clayton Cemetery. It's always been channeled there. And my question, no offense to the attorney here, this is an engineering issue. It's not a lawyer issue. And as the Texas Historic Commission, have they talked to an engineer Have they
Yes.
talked to see our plan? Our plans really spell out to protect that ravine, like decreasing erosion. It was in our city council meeting. I talked to Gary about it, and he said we would prevent further erosion of that ravine. So does the Texas Historic Commission know this information?
You have an answer here in the back.
They don't care. What
They
they,
don't, what's that mean? They don't care.
they want,
How would you not care if you didn't know the answer? The question-
okay, let me answer your question.
Okay, go ahead.
So, as I said, right now, they have told Langford had their environmental specialist call the Texas Historic Commission, who they work with all the time, and said, what can we do? What do we need to get to you to help you with this conversation? And they were told, nothing. You may not do anything until the lawsuit is settled. After it is settled, if you're still going to do the project, we can then resubmit new plans and they will start over with their environmental assessment.
Well, I'm really confused, Mayor. I'm totally confused.
You have had the
I'm
opportunity
totally
to
confused.
talk to Langford in closed session, in open session, in person, like
Well-
every single meeting since I became mayor, I have had someone here talking to y'all about this, either executive session or openly. And people have had the opportunity to answer every single question anyone's had. And I have written these things out for you in absolute detail to make sure that you're being given all of the information that you possibly need.
I don't feel that way.
I get that, I hear that, and I don't know how to help you with that.
Well,
If it's not what you want, that's one thing. But that doesn't mean you're not getting all the information. It means
No,
you
we're-
don't like the
we're
information
not
you're
getting all
getting.
the information.
What information
Because
is
we
left?
didn't get to talk to Gina Lowe like Terry said.
Yes,
Well,
This is what, go ahead, Terry.
I just think it's possible that we're getting the information from you that you were given. And I'm not saying you did anything wrong. It's not a criticism of the way that you provided the information to us. I think that you did a good job of that. I think that I feel like there could be other options that they would consider, but we don't have a way of asking them that. Now, I know they came up with 4, and originally we were told we could not talk to them because they hadn't made a decision yet.
Mhm,
And so we were given the impression that we were gonna be able to talk to them after that,
mhm,
and then we could not.
mhm.
So in that. may
I'm
have-
not making those decisions though.
Yeah, and that may have nothing to do with that. But I'm just saying, it's hard to make a decision on something
You don't have
if
to.
we're told we don't today.
No, and the thing is that
But-
what it says in the letter, and what I told you guys in your letter,
I read the
is
letter.
that you don't have to make any decision. You can let the clock run out. We can decide on January 27th at the end of the grant. That's fine. And I am not going to put it on this freaking agenda again. It's done. But what I'm saying is, they were very clear, and it's clear in the letter I gave y'all, it's clear in the letter in this packet for the entire community, that any money we spend moving forward, because the longer we keep it, we will continue paying Langford, we will continue paying Freeland and Turner to do these check-in meetings, to figure out stuff, to build things, to whatever. The money we spend right now moving forward, if we don't self-terminate, that money will have to be paid back.
Well, I understand that.
And that's fine. If we don't mind doing that, let's just let it run out.
I just think, I thought what they said was we have to make an effort
No,
to
what they
put the
said,
grant through. And if we just say, okay, let's self-terminate.
that was before. What they are saying now, if you read all 4 of those, every
did.
one of them starts with, you can self-terminate and you can make your case that you have made your effort. The time to make the effort was before. And now that we're in trouble with this lawsuit and we can't move,
I'm totally confused.
now the problem is that they're saying, right now is the right time to make the decision. In fact, when we told them we don't meet with y'all again until tonight, they said, we will call you next week then to find out what the council wants to do. And I am fine, because they want us to just be done.
Well, so
It does.
if they know that we are being stalled by things we have no control over, then it doesn't, I don't understand.
They said we
Why they
don't have
wouldn't
any more,
Yes, he said that.
Okay,
we don't have any more time. They have given us the extension, they give every single group
well, I read
one
the part where we don't get
extension.
an extension, I understand.
So that's why. So we can either just let it run out on its own and not do anything and just maybe the lawsuit will finish early and then we can start all over.
Is there any way for us to get information on the lawsuit? I mean, I don't
You
really,
can. You can copy of it.
well, I can get a copy of it, but what are we doing to respond to it? We're
Right
never-
now, nothing. We filed our response in court
Okay, and
and now
response
it's up
like
to
what?
them.
What does that mean? Like a response of denial?
We cannot go into
Okay,
that right now,
okay.
but you've met with both attorneys about that in executive session before.
I don't remember them ever saying how they responded to it. I don't remember that.
I don't remember that
Well, then
either.
we can have an executive session if you would like to know about that. I can tell you that in the meantime,
We will
it's
talk about it.
going to be at least a year.
That's just your opinion.
Yeah,
That's not my opinion. That is the opinion of the attorney who is,
Where is
In
she at?
charge
tonight?
of
Where-
the
I'd like to hear
lawsuit.
from her. Where is the attorney?
okay.
It's not on the agenda. It's not on the agenda.
I thought, because
Well,
we're
I mean,
talking, I thought we were talking about the grant,
Say something now.
but I thought we were talking about the grant. So
What?
I mean, it pertains to the grant, right?
I'm gonna say something right now. Why, I'm an old oil field trainer. I work all over the world. I'm a negotiator. Why can't we get everybody in the same room and figure this problem out?
that's not the.
Because it's-
That's not the.
It is the problem. It's all about the communication and knowing all the facts. How can we, as a city council person, make a huge decision like this? $6.7 million without having all people in the same room.
Because we have a lawsuit against.
Sir, I don't interrupt you when you're talking. I want to speak. Okay, how can we have everybody in the same room and we talk about GLO, Texas Historic Commission, find out what's going on? Because what I've been seeing, I don't want to get into it much, but that's just my opinion. We have to get together. $6.7 million, this is nothing to laugh at.
Does Langford have anything to say? I saw you raise your hand. Could you please interject and so politely come to the meeting?
Hi, Lisa. I'm sorry, I did not see your hand, I really did.
I just very much saying that in her letter, and it is all accurate, it's unfortunate the situation we are in, but GLO's given the city money, and they just wanna know what we're gonna do, whether the city decides to keep moving forward and pushing forward, or the city decides to self-terminate, they're just waiting. They're not gonna give us any more guidance, they're not gonna tell us what to do, because they want the city to make that decision. And time is against us. The lawsuit that the city is under right now, we can't provide an accurate timeline, so we can't guarantee that we'd be able to complete this project within the time that JLo's given us, and they are not giving any more extensions.
Okay.
It's unfortunate, and on the historic commission letter, you are correct, the wording in the initial statement is not accurate. But
Yeah,
in
no
the
kidding,
end,
it's
but
not
in the end, they are waiting on the lawsuit to resolve, because an owner has to be established
Who is
on
the
that
owner?
cemetery.
Hey,
That's
that's enough. Let's not-
Well, that's-
Older.
That's the issue, that's the lawsuit is to establish ownership.
It's convoluted.
And so our permit with the historic commission has been stalled or canceled, and then once that ownership is established, we can resubmit a
But-
permit, and they will discuss it, everything with us.
As
then.
you said, I can't say much, as you said, that we've tried to find the title of that property. We have worked, you have worked, the city has worked diligently. That's what I'm saying, why can't we all, I'm not an attorney, I don't claim to be, but why can't we problem solve and come together as in one room and get all parties and try to find a way to fix this problem?
I understand that, I'm talking with GLO, I don't believe they'll wanna meet, because in the
Unfortunately,
end, they're just waiting on
unfortunately,
the city.
I did not have the opportunity to talk to GLO, like Terry said, I had some questions to ask them. So again, how can I'm an elected official with my constituents, how in the world can I make an informed decision of $6.7 million? Well, knowing all the facts, I don't have all the facts.
And if the council would like to either establish one person to join the next monthly meeting, get questions together and then can approach GLO then, and that council member can join that monthly meeting, we just can't have two meetings.
I
instead
will
of
volunteer
one.
that.
I understand that,
But
I definitely
create-
understand that.
Great questions that you can write down and we can bring it to GLO and have them respond to them, so you guys can get those. and
I
get
think I'm the
answers.
most qualified because I've been in office longer than anybody in here, 7 years.
No, I agree with that, Mike, I agree with
I've been
that,
here since the start, so I know this project better than anyone.
I agree.
So I think I should be the person involved.
That would be the city's decision, but that's an option to answer the questions that you feel have not been answered yet. But what is in the letters that they have provided is accurate.
I don't disagree with
I don't
that,
dis-
I don't think anybody's trying to say it's
No,
not
no,
accurate,
it's pretty great. It's just,
but thank you, I appreciate you.
thank you for coming.
Yes, sir?
First of all, you made a beautiful assessment. Thank you, you later. Awesome job. My comment, okay, and mine is, from what I know, it's a self-serving deal to hurt the people in Martindale. And I'm wondering what you're gonna tell people in this city and the kids and the other people that come here, why you're gonna waste the $6.7 million plus what you spent on engineering and time, okay? To not help this little town, this little city grow into something that's prosperous and grow into something that becomes something, okay, for people that are gonna live here beyond what we're gonna live here, okay? That's the answer that I want. I wanna know what you expect to tell those people,
Thank you,
okay, when you deny them
thank you.
their privilege.
Yes, Mr. Painter.
I know less about this project than anybody in this room.
I got that, I got that.
But it sounds to me like you've got a situation, you've got people suing the city because they think you're gonna flood the cemetery. I've heard the engineers say, no, we're gonna make it better, not worse. Why not get the people, this is just a suggestion, get the people that's suing you in the room, let the engineers come and give their assessment of what's gonna happen over there. And then see, they may say, hey, that's better than the situation, we're dropping a lawsuit.
I appreciate that. We are not gonna get into discussing legal strategy. However, I will tell you that has happened. That has happened. We've already, y'all, I know that y'all are just now learning about this. This has been going on for 4 years. And we have had every conversation, every direction. And it is not a matter of what are we gonna tell people? It sounds like it is right now because you're new into the conversation.
But the lawsuit didn't
The
occur
problem
until
is,
2024.
that's true. It did not occur until 2024.
Yeah,
and the
the
whole-
grant's been going on since 19.
Okay, and so, the point being, all those conversations happened. They all broke down, and that's when we had a lawsuit. And right now, it is not an option to get the people in the room and just talk it out. We are past that, they are not coming to the table, and in fact, they are gonna drag this lawsuit out as long as they possibly can, so that we cannot do this.
Yeah, as long as you don't challenge it, of course.
We have challenged it, when
Oh, you have.
you, sir, you have no idea.
Yes, I do.
Excuse me, you have no idea what has been done legally or not done legally.
You don't
So
know
if
that.
you could stop, please, if you could stop, we're gonna move on past this item. And we will, if y'all wanna write down questions to ask at the next GLO assembly, that would be fine. I'm sorry, sir, but we need to move on.
Well,
This is not productive anymore.
You brought up last week, 2 other grants for the roads. And you said this was phase 1 and these was the other 2 and 3. Is that gonna?
It will not impact either direction.
Grant 2 is set to.
It is fine and the
When?
and whenever they get done, right now they are in the process of planning that grant since they decided they can't, it's the same engineers doing all 3. When this one is at a dead standstill, they decided we'll move on to 2 and start planning that one. Whenever they get done with that, it'll go to bid.
We're
Best I
not
can tell you.
waiting on 1 to clear the table. 2 and 3 can.
They will keep going.
Okay.
All right, moving on to the next item. If y'all have questions you wanna write down, we will read them to the GLO and.
I would like to attend that meeting with you.
The next topic is the parking fee structure and permit due dates, yes, sir.
Thank you for coming.
Purposefully skip 4.2.
What?
Purposefully skip 4.2.
Yes, we don't have the,
So they did.
oh no, we did 4.2, we skipped 4.1. Skipped 4.1, not 4.2.
We did 4.2.
We voted on it and passed it.
We voted and passed that one.
I didn't, who's the second?
Next, let's see, the parking fee structure and permit due dates. Did you wanna describe that, Javi, because you were the one working on that revision?
For the parking fees.
Thanks, Bill, both.
Yeah. What?
Okay. So we're planning on doing, and you look at the very end of the budget on the.
I'm sorry, can you find it when you're on your way out, because we're trying to keep going?
If y'all look at the very end of the budget packet, there is a portion that you'll see, it's a parking for, parking fee schedule builder thing. We're planning on trying to look at, with all the comments about, people going to parks and having to pay the full $10 just to be there for 30 minutes. We're trying to find out a way on how to fix it and still get some sort of revenue out of it. So we proposed it's $3 for the first or $3 per hour. After 2 hours, go all the way down.
This one?
Then
all the way down.
it might not be on it. Then
That was in the
actual
Excel spreadsheet. Yeah, it was only in the Excel spreadsheet.
Okay, then my bad, I'll find it right now. But, it was $3 an hour. The first 2 hours you have to pay. So if you stay there for 1 hour, it's $3. If you're there for 2 hours, it's $6. After those 2 hours, it will jump to the normal $10 flat fee.
How you gonna do that with Park Mobile?
You can, so Park Mobile, I mean,
It's already complicated enough. I mean, come on, man, 2 to 3, I mean, I don't understand, it's just like,
I'm sorry, let me make the presentation. I'm sorry. You're against it. I mean,
I'm sorry, sir.
So the way that I was, like, I use Park Mobile, I use Park Mobile in other places, and you could, there's a slider thing that you could use to say how long you're gonna be there. Other than that, it's really just a way for people to still be there without having to pay the full $10. Granted, I know it's just $10, right? And like to us, it might just,
It's free.
to us, it might just seem like $10, but to other people, it's $10.
A lot higher.
Okay,
Mike.
Mike, can you stop, please?
I'm sorry.
Trying to get this through.
This is my baby, by the way, go ahead.
Could you please just let
I
him finish?
will.
You can have your questions at the end.
But yeah, again, it's first 2 hours, max you'll pay is $6. After the hour rates, it will be $3. And then after the first 2 hours, it's $10.
That's a little different than what Jared did on the initial spreadsheet, but
Is it,
it was, less than an hour is 2, then 1 to 2 is 4, 2 to 3 is 6, and then after 4, it's $10.
I'm already confused about what I would be, what
Well,
I would be.
You just send that one part of the
Yeah, yeah, I'll get
spreadsheet
it
out
out, yeah.
to the public, I know it's a little. It's creative, I'll leave it at that, it's creative.
because and again, like we've all heard the public comments and people have came into City Hall saying that they don't feel like it's fair that they're paying $10 just to be there for 30 minutes for lunch. So again, this is just us being creative and trying to figure out a way to help the public that comes out and visit our parks.
They're non-residents.
Mike, could you stop? And at the end, I will ask if you have any questions.
Okay, I'm sorry, Mayor.
So very much that, just a creative solution to try to figure out how to make people feel more comfortable in visiting our parks and allowing them to stay for whatever allotted time they want to be here.
There are
So the-
people that are single parents that say that they have toddlers, they can't ever stay here more than 2 hours at a time because of the children's
Yeah, I've heard all
schedules.
that.
And so it's just trying to provide more flexibility for the people that use our parks. And then maybe they would come back more often because it doesn't cost them the same amount as it was.
And like, one thing that I do wanna like sort of point out is like, okay, so let's say you do go, right? And we know people aren't paying because we hear about the stories of people not paying, right? With that, if they see that it's only $3 for an hour, they would at least pay the $3, something along those lines, right? Or they would pay at least the $6 just to be there for 2 hours, you know? It would sort of still like push them to still pay something in the end, instead of them not paying anything and then having to deal with the tow truck and then having to do all of that. That's sort of, again, what Councilmember McGovern mentioned, where it's just like, it's sort of a creative solution is to still allow people to pay something for the time that they're gonna be there. We don't wanna do it to where it's like 50 cents for the first like 10 minutes, that doesn't make any sense. We'd rather still get the full hour to 2 hours and then after that, the full day.
Obviously, this is it's a first time I was, thank you for letting me participate in the meeting. I'm observing and absorbing as well, and this is the first time you've got a chance to absorb it. I think the good idea would be just to absorb this as a thought process, and obviously it's gonna come into play probably in the next meeting, and then obviously in the budget meeting, as a potential creative solution. As we know, it's potentially good, more revenue potential or less revenue. It's an unknown, it's a huge unknown.
Maybe we could do it as a pilot.
It's an enforcement unknown. I mean, there's a lot of things. If you notice, in San Marcos, they do more on the weekends and special events, and they do a lower rate during the week. There's a lot of creativity that we can do on that. And I think it's just a creative solution to try and, am I for it or not? No, I'm not.
But I think
I'm
having.
a little concerned about the enforcement of it more than
Right.
anything.
Yeah.
I think that's always because we can only enforce by tow. Unfortunately, that's the way the law is written, as far as I understand it. So our towing company's a long way away, it's not like they're down the street, so they're not coming as often, so whether they're actually gonna pay more or not, I don't know.
We are allowed to change any of our ordinances
course,
that we wrote,
course.
so if we don't like the enforcement portion, we can change it.
Well, so
Well,
are you saying
can I-
that the
can I-
person who is parking there determines, like, they have to put in how long they're gonna be there?
Well,
That's what
I
they do in
would-
Austin, that's what they do in.
What they-
So what if they put in that they're gonna be there 30 minutes, but they actually stay 2 hours?
You can always go on and add to your time.
it will,
Okay.
yes, it will actually, I do know Park Mobile will notify you that your time is up.
Mhm. It tells you like, it's 30 minutes in advance.
What if you can't get a signal?
But we can't enforce.
Don't pass it then.
We can't enforce the parking. We can't enforce it as a police, only through tow. And we had that discussion when we first passed it, so that was before you, so, I mean, we really discussed it, like, why wouldn't you just like log in and, tell these guys, hey. And he's like, well, we can only suggest that they log in and do it.
We make the suggestion a lot, but if we go there and start telling someone you need to pay now, it becomes like an official pricing type issue. Now, I'm going to either tell you to do this or you're going to get towed.
And
We
then, yes,
can only make the suggestions.
yeah, so, I'm still absorbing that meeting myself.
Yeah.
Are there any
Brainstorming.
things that your other cities do, that deal with parking enforcement?
Like similar to what you have here with, most of them don't charge to park.
San Marcos does, New Braunfels does.
Yeah, they're
Okay.
a whole lot bigger than y'all, so if you're asking about cities like y'all, no.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so then let's just put that on the back burner and we will move on to the next thing. Let's see, the next thing is the hot tax funds and possible ways to invest that in generating Martindale overnight visitors. There have been complaints from our Airbnb hosts that, they actually don't earn any money in terms of visitors from the River Fest and the Tammy Fest, because they're both primarily locally attended events. So, we have $40,000 in that fund. And I'm just bringing up a question as to whether we want to do something with the fund. If you don't, that's fine, I'm just asking.
So that's the fund that can only be for things like,
Enhancing overnight visitors to Martindale.
so does that mean like recreational stuff? Does that mean like music? I mean, what does that mean? Like it have to be tourist stuff or, okay.
can I make a recommendation, you send that, restriction that that fund has to the council? So that we can,
It's.
because obviously this is the question, and we haven't discussed it now for over a year. I know.
Yeah, so I have a vague memory of it, but I was just trying to make sure to clarify what we
So,
were
I
talking
mean, I'm
about.
glad you're bringing it up, I have a few ideas on it as well, but I'd like to know exactly what, I don't wanna make a recommendation, it's totally off the rocker.
Mhm.
But my general understanding is that you can do, beautification, some beautification to the city is acceptable. Especially in the zones that are the Airbnb, so there are some beautification things, there's some signage, obviously. The one thing that, Mike and I talked, I know, Sam, we talked about this before, is putting signage up on 80 to promote the city. I do know that qualifies.
Mhm.
So any type of signage that we put on 80 or 1979 or wherever, that is definitely, an expense that can be made. Obviously, as Maury had done when they discussed creating the entity, a website, an independent website is definitely, an expense. If they're not gonna do it, the city can obviously sub that out directly, and then spend the money that way. So those would be my only two suggestions, would be the signage and independent website that would promote their particular establishments. But I do understand their frustrations with the monies that we have spent have been gray in with regard to how many overnight actual visitors. There are, exceptions to the code that as long as you're doing something that is specifically entertainment and music related, that's kind of you get a pass on that, for sponsoring events, because you're getting people exposure, if you will. So that's always been the caveat of getting around those two, entities getting monies, and neither one of them will be taking money this calendar year because both the events can move back, as we talked about, till October. So, whether they repitch it or not, I don't know, I would assume they will, but, you said there.
I think in that hotel tax, the ruling on that, there's something in there about advertising. If you want to get people to come to Warrenville, you gotta advertise.
Mhm.
And whether or not you do it online or travel brochure, whatever, you gotta get the word out.
I thought we had a whole committee for
And
it.
I think there's a way you can use some of that hotel.
Yeah, the website and any other that all, obviously, that does fall within, I do know that falls within it. But there's a lot of other creative potential things that we could spend it on. The only two things that I knew that I had talked to Maury about even as well, and Carlton in particular, was the website and signage on 80, so.
I just wanted to bring up something that, another Airbnb that is not in, only ETJ has started doing is advertising to Texas state parents. So, they can come and stay at a nice place and not have to tell them. Markets, close to kids, either for football games,
That's a good idea,
family
though.
weekend. Particularly Airbnb, I mean, they have an amazing advertising thing. I was like, whoa, we need to do that. That's what, if I had an Airbnb, I would be like, on that.
So not we necessarily, but someone needs to do that.
Someone should do that.
Gotcha.
But no, I think there's a lot of creative things that we can do, and I think maybe one bachelor to see how can we spend that money. Is number one.
It's like putting a sign out there, a store downtown, Martindale, downtown, wherever, like you're doing San Marcos, little kind of nice.
And I mean, everything that
Glad you brought it up.
Lori and Craig brought to the discussion, I thought was wonderful. And I love that.
I think, Maury's impression is that is done after Carlton's passing.
No,
So
and
it would
I
need to be-
understand
It
that.
would need to be that's terrible, I was gonna say it needs to be reincarnated, but I didn't really mean that. I meant like
That's not the work you wanted to do. Good catch, though.
It's
Good catch.
not what I meant.
Yeah.
That is directly related to Matthew's comment about the signage. We do have the information from TxDOT and all the information about ways of finding signs that can be done. I would like to see those signs go up on 142 and on 130 to point people to 142, as well as, she said they can go 2 miles down on either side of 80, either side of our city limits on 80 to point people to the middle. The other thing that I'd like you to consider, and we can just keep these two together and bring them back up after you review the hot tax information, is possibly doing an easement from Ali on the new property that he just bought, the Highway 80 feet barn former's property.
That'd be great.
If we can do an easement by the city just to put a sign there pointing to downtown, maybe something kind of interesting looking as opposed to just the highway signs, the TxDOT signs. Then we could do that. Wayfinding signs also could include things like the river access points. So
Yeah,
think broadly about that.
And we had talked at one point about having, signs, like at Stall, where we were trying to get people not to actually, go in the water there from a safety standpoint, and having a map sign that redirected them down to the other 2 parks. That's why I really want to know the rules. Can I put a sign on that property over there? And would that constitute and fall within that criteria of spending the money? Because that would be nice, like you just said, having a map of the city and saying, you're here, but these are really better access points from a safety standpoint. Please come to the park and not,
That's fundable.
I think it is, right?
Wayfinding
Yeah,
signs are-
yeah, so, that'd be something that I would be interested in. And, obviously, some signs at the park I know are legal, I believe, with regard to that, because it's bringing people to the town, so.
Yeah, next council meeting, I'll have some.
Also, Mayor, also, I know the owner that owns the land where the gas company is. I could reach out to him and see if we could put a deposit for that.
Yeah, 'cause that goes to 142, that's a,
Oh, that, Guadalupe,
The Guadalupe one?
Guadalupe Gas at 142 and 80.
yeah,
I know the owner. I could ask.
that would be a good place.
Like we said before, maybe have a really nice sign, maybe out of wood or something custom. You could hook things on like water safari or chili cook-off or kite day at the library, something you could just, that time of year it comes up, hook and then show an arrow or something.
Mm-hmm, yep, absolutely.
Okay.
And then last item for tonight, thank God, is determine a process to establish the rules and procedure in decorum. I don't know whether you all have gone ahead and looked for those like I had asked, but I have a couple of them. And what I was thinking about doing was putting them into a folder on,
Drive, yeah,
thank you,
yeah,
wherever you put the other stuff.
yes.
Making a
You
folder
can make
there.
You can make a shared drive, a shared
Yes.
folder, and then sit it.
Everyone
access
can
it.
get to it.
Yeah.
So, I will do that, and if you have others, if you find others, if you'll put them in there, that would be very helpful.
I thought somebody had talked about, there's like a parliamentarian that I guess is the one who becomes, whoever is on, the council member who becomes the parliamentarian is the one who keeps track of whether or not Robert's Rules of Order or whatever we choose is being, followed.
We can make that a position within the rules,
Mhm.
obviously.
You can decide if you want that or not. That's all I'm doing is trying to bring it up so we can decide.
Brainstorm.
Well, I was just saying it's an idea. Okay,
Chair.
okay. So we don't really need an extra person to do that.
You don't have to. You
Okay,
can, but normally. the
Yeah,
mayor-
normally, yeah.
okay.
Yeah, the mayor runs the meeting.
Yeah.
So, yeah, whatever we want the rules to be, I just want to decide on them so that we know and everyone can follow them. That would be an amazing step forward for us.
And I have some
Well,
questions.
Not right now, not right now. We're gonna look at what other cities have first and then we'll start talking about it, but we need them to be type A cities so that they are something that we know we can do. Because cities can make up any rules that that we're not necessarily allowed to have because we're not a grown-up city. We're a training wheel city. So we need to look at other training wheel rules of decorum.
I had a question about going back to 4.6 and the signage and the hotel tax. Why are we waiting on not taking action on it? Because we talked about this for years. We've heard from the merchants that they want signs. You have talked to TxDOT. I have talked to TxDOT. We know that they're called city pride signs. We have found information. Why are we waiting again on making a decision about this? We have merchants that are leaving town and people drive on the highway all the time and don't even know that.
Well, it doesn't really list.
Views about what we're allowed to use the hot taps for. So
Yeah.
Javier is going to bring us the rules again and we can look at them again. And then we can
You can make
hopefully
recommendations.
make a decision.
Yeah, Mayor, when you're ready to take action on that though, allocation of hot funds needs to be done by written resolution so that you have the proper findings. That way, if you're ever audited, they're not gonna have you pay those back.
Okay.
So we'll wanna make proper findings in a written resolution that finds that the use is justified under the statute. and
Okay.
Specifies what that use is.
All right,
Again, and I'm just gonna ask one more question.
Sure,
because
go
I-
right ahead.
Sorry about
no,
this,
you're
but
fine.
Visit Martindale was set up many
that's what it
years
was,
ago
Visit
by
Martindale.
Craig and Carlton and Mari. Mari can no longer be on the Visit Martindale committee because he has a conflict. Not only does he own one of the biggest businesses in town, but now he's on the council. So we need to either also talk about reforming maybe a committee of citizens that might help us with this Visit Martindale. We have the nonprofit, or is that Visit Martindale in existence anymore?
No.
And we don't need that, Sam, we don't need an independent, the city can make resolution to spend the money directly. The process of that was for us to give the administrative responsibilities directly to them.
Yeah.
But now,
But we,
that's what we were saying, it needs to be reconstituted in a different form
but
because
the city is
Carlton has, Maury is now conflicted out and,
better.
Craig is
Better
sitting
from
in
the city.
his
Right,
Yeah.
that's what Jared said, unless you
Okay.
do a certain.
So yeah, if we could work on that, maybe make that our late summer project, to really get people to come down here and listen to music and spend more money here and all. Just trying to get money here for the city as much as possible.
Yeah.
Because our budget is pretty much in the dumpster, in the back of the city hall, you know. Our budget is suffering, but thank you for that update.
And, just FYI, I did just find a letter from, former Mayor Kim Smith to the council reminding them, and I just thought, you know what? We're back, I'll just say it too. Reminding council that when there's items on the agenda, do your homework before you come to the meeting. So if you have questions about why we're apologizing, or if you have questions about what the hot tax says and it's an item on here, feel free to do some Googling or let me know and we can send you information. We will try to be more proactive about making sure that the hot tax rules are in the agenda packet when it goes out, so that you don't have to do that work. But initiative is always a good thing, it's always appreciated by us.
Well, I really try to study the agenda packet before the meeting, and I feel like I do a pretty good job of that most of the time, but I don't always understand everything that's in it, even though I read it.
Just give me a call.
But I didn't even get the packet this time until Wednesday.
This week you did not, and so the only time it's been late, but
So,
you're right.
but that's why when I asked, I felt sort of like you were directing that at me. Maybe you weren't, maybe I just have a guilty conscience.
No, I was
But
not.
I was like, well, yeah, I was referring to the hot tax because I remember it from like a year ago and I wanted to make sure I had it in my head.
Yeah.
So when you said that, I'm like, wait, it's
That should have been in the packet so that you didn't have to do some research on it, but if you do feel like you're missing information, look it up.
Yeah, I definitely look stuff up. I am a Google master.
And then if we rescheduled the P and Z meeting from the 19th, is that in?
Is it been finalized?
Hasn't been rescheduled yet, no. We're gonna meet with the development group on Tuesday to to meet and like discuss what's the best option and go down
That's Sam and, Mike,
Yeah,
and-
of course.
the
the planner.
planning, Amanda Padilla, who's the city planner, and the people.
Wasn't that on Monday at 1? Wasn't that?
That's on Monday. There was a lot of planning stuff this past week, so yes.
Monday at 1 is the first.
Cause you have Outlook on your phone now.
Yeah. Yes. Monday at 1.
Did you set it up?
Yeah, I'll send them, I'll send
It's a
them.
thought, it's all right, don't mean overstep, Sam.
Hey,
Yes.
I will make
Okay, do you have anything else to add? Yes, ma'am.
This lady was gonna say something
Oh.
earlier. Is it okay if I make a comment about the forum,
The what?
the rules of the forum?
Oh, not for suggestions, not yet. You can make that later when we get to where we're talking about details about what the rules should be. Anyone else? Did you have something, Deanna?
Yes, I remember on my last report, I talked about
The
the
machine.
kiosk to pay. The guy reached out to me and he just wants to know, you know, if it's falling through, if y'all aren't gonna consider it at all, or if y'all are needing more information, he is willing to come into our next, or either, he told me either, council meeting of the month of September, and either give y'all a demo, give y'all a presentation, and he's willing to bring the machine itself and explain and answer all the questions you guys have, or in regards to that. So just let me know and I'll put him on the agenda and for like a presentation and he'll come in, if that's something y'all are even interested in.
You know what, can you ask him, verify with him whether or not it can go in a floodway?
Perfect question,
thing.
Mayor.
If it can't, then it's not necessary to bring him in, but if it could, then he can come in and explain how that happened.
Yeah, how do we salvage it? That's a good
Good
idea.
question.
I did
Mayor.
explain to him, that was one of the main questions that, was stressed on during the presentation. And he mentioned that, like I said in the presentation over and over, that they include a person to come not only to service it, but in inclement weather. They do have someone that comes out here and transports it out of
Harm's way.
Well, I thought also what you said though was if it was, I mean, cause what if somebody vandalized? I thought you said if it did wash away, we would be responsible to replace it.
But I did mention that they do, if we call
Right,
them.
I remember that part, but what if it happened like at 2 AM and we didn't really know until after it was gone? But I don't know, I mean, I'm just saying, but I think it's good that that he knows that question, I think that's perfect. If it's not something that would be appropriate in a floodway, then we don't even need to consider it.
Right, I mean, he pretty much said that if you're paying for that service, they will provide you for that service. How good can we be about the weather?
Who knows?
Prediction. I don't know. I don't have the answer to how accurate we can be for that, or, you know, but he did say that they do provide that service to get it out of there on time. And I was like, well, if they're getting it out of there on time, you know, how, they're also wondering what happens how easy is it just to rob this thing,
Well,
right?
exactly, if they can remove
Yeah.
it, we can, somebody else can too.
He
Yeah,
said
we have a
that.
sign, ripped off.
Right, so your signs weren't as secure, this is what he essentially said, that signs aren't as secure as this machine would be, and the bolts and all the installation none of that is visible unless you have the specific tools that this.
So they're saying they can remove it easily, but other people wouldn't be able to remove it easily, okay.
Mayor, real
Yes.
quick, I found these notes, it said Martindale Pond System. It
Wait,
said-
before we move on, can I get an answer on that?
I think right now with the cost of that being $17,000, that we don't have enough money in the park mobile fund at this time, and we're going to start to go into the slow season. unless the money can be allocated from some emergency fund or from the general fund or something, but we're going into it would have to come out of the park mobile. So we don't have enough money in the park mobile budget now, and we're going into the slow season, so I say to put him on hold. That's just, as Mike said, my opinion. And we're just.
I agree.
No, I agree with that too.
Maybe next year, maybe next spring or something. See.
Yeah, I
Like
agree.
April or something,
Yeah.
perhaps.
Okay, next thing.
Real quick, Mayor, I found that note from Pete. It said irrigated 5,200 gallons this month due to irrigation line leak. So, I mean, I hope it's fixed. I'll talk to Pete. But if we get into a wet season, we really need to irrigate that thing as much as we can.